Alright, so we already finished up page 1, 001. I went ahead and started off the second page, so 002. Started off the same way, reoriented where my bill of materials were at, added all my information. I already went into the ISO view, and as you can see, I redid my tags. Now you can notice one thing that's different than I didn't do on the first one. I went ahead and added a dimension line between each individual run of pipe here. And the way I did that, similar to adding dimensions in the elevation view, go to set, you pick your plane, and I just picked the face of that atom that I wanted the dimensions to be ran off of, and then when I went to go add those dimensions, the atom has those extension legs that you can pick from. The reason I did that is because with 002, we have 3 elements that are all the same. So I only want to highlight one of them in my plan view and my elevation view, and in the ISO view I'll show all 3 so that the crew or whoever's putting it together knows that there's 3. They recognize that the bill of materials include 3. I may even add a text that says 1 through 3, like this is 3 elements, but I don't want to take up all that space on my drawing with 3 different elements. I want to highlight the dimensions for one and let them know to copy that across. So went ahead, did the ISO view, and I'll jump into the plan view here, and we'll go ahead and adjust our 3D view to include the elements that we want. So like I said, I only want the single element. I'm going to do the one closest to the transition down below. I think that's plenty of space. Go ahead and move that back. And right now my scale is set to 1 inch equals 1 foot. And you'll see here on the drawing that's a little small. So I'm going to go ahead and bump it up to the 1.5 over 1. And I think that's going to be perfect. I've looked at the 3 and that's just too large for this particular drawing. I don't ever really use 3 unless we're talking about really small, fine detailed stuff and I'm doing maybe one graphic, but I'll show you what that looks like. It's just, it overpowers, it's going to be too much. Your tags get lost in the size of the model. So 1.5 is typically the largest I'll go. But I'm going to go ahead and jump in here, delete all these tags, and start dimensioning it similar to that of which I would do on 001 and anything else that was just a plan view that I want to show. So when I get done with that, I'll jump into the elevation view and we'll do the exact same thing. We'll condition it, and then I'll jump back and show you guys what it looks like at the very end. So I'm going to go ahead. Alright, so all the views have been conditioned and changed. So the bill of materials top is in the top left. We've got the ISO view showing all of the assembly elements as well as a dimension between them, because like we've mentioned, we only wanted detail one of them because they are typical across them. And then the elevation view as well, we have our elevations called out, all of our dimensions. I did, as you'll see in that little time lapse, create my own dimensions. I wanted to make sure that I had a specific style where I have beyond witness line for my leader. I don't really want there to be a leader unless it's past these witness lines, as you can see here. I also made one for the baseline and the ordinate dimensions. The baseline really doesn't help you out too much in spool drawings. The only time I've really found a good use for that is typically on lift drawings for a concrete wall pour or something like that. The last thing you probably might notice is these cropped edges on the ISO view. I went ahead and did that. Sometimes there's elements inside of the ISO view that extend beyond the boundary of the page, but I really want the size of the of this ISO view, and so what I'll do is I'll crop those boundaries in just a little bit. It gives it a little bit more of a polished look. If your gaps are all the same, again, it's not a really requirement of any kind. It's just something that I do that I feel like adds value to each drawing. So I will go ahead and run through and look at number 3. It's going to be very similar to that of 001. It's only a one-piece assembly. I'll make sure that the template's got the correct filter on it and all that stuff. And then once I get done through 6, I'll come back and show you how we're going to make that cover page that will be added to these spool drawings that will show every spool and its location, and how we edit that to make sure that across an entire building, if there's stuff that's split up, we want to make sure it's cohesive and has all the information. So we'll look at that here in a little while. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into these and finish out 3 through 6. While looking through these videos, just to point something out, a lot of times when it comes to the plan view and elevation view, it is best to go ahead and do your dimensions first, to go ahead and lay out where they are going to be at, and then come back and do the tagging. The reason I do this is because you don't want your tags to interfere with your dimension lines. So if you put down your dimensions first and your elevation lines and all that stuff first, your tags will kind of fit in between those areas, since they're not as important as the dimensions themselves. So that's just a best practice thing. Right here you'll see the splice in the video. That was because there was a crash in Revit. I think I mentioned it here in a little bit about making sure you're doing frequent synchronizing and saving depending on what type of work you're doing. If it's local, just save it locally. Luckily I had previously just saved and synchronized my work, so I didn't lose too much, but it's definitely a possibility that you lose some work if you're not careful, so be constantly saving. Alright, now that I've finished all of my sheets, I've gone ahead and finished 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. Just a quick tip, I had an issue where I was going to finish out one of these drawings, and for whatever reason Revit decided to crash. I lost my work for a little while there. Be sure to save locally or synchronize with Central depending on what kind of model you're working with. Regularly. I typically will do it after every sheet, but in this case I'm thankful I did after tagging out this entire ISO view. If I hadn't, that would have been a pain to go back and do. All in all, it took me about an hour 45 minutes to do all those pages. But now we want to go ahead and create our cover page, and there is another template that we've already created to do that, and we'll go ahead and apply that right now.